Now it's time to see who has the heart.
If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational. But that just wouldn't be our style. Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome to the Best of Tailgate Talk, where we go back into the archives and hear some of our special guests you may have missed the first time around. We'll be back with the Best of Tailgate Talk after this. Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. Real estate, real easy. That's the motto at Innovative Realty Solutions, and providing the highest quality real estate services is their mission. With sound real estate advice, the latest information, and a skilled analysis of the real estate market, Innovative Realty Solutions offers a better home buying and selling experience with a fair, ethical, and, yes, innovative process. Innovative Realty Solutions. Visit them on Facebook, online at innovativerealtysolutions.com, at 100 North Clinton Street in Athens, or call 230-5950. Innovative Realty Solutions. Real estate, real easy. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right. Smith's Heating and Cooling in Elkmont is your friendly local contractor, servicing most brands of equipment and proudly installing industry-leading Rheem systems. Whether it's an air conditioner, gas furnace, heat pump, or indoor air quality system, Smith's Heating and Cooling prides themselves on their exceptional installation and 24/7 customer service after the fact. They offer financing too. Call 777-5450 today to schedule an appointment or a free no-obligation consultation. Smith's Heating and Cooling. Call 777-5450. Visit them on Facebook or online at smithsheatingandcoolingllc.com. At Hendricks Power Washing and Striping, your property is their priority. Power washing, striping, seal coating, crack filling, and asphalt maintenance, rain or shine, day or night. Call Colby for a free quote at 256-763-1740. Visit their Facebook page and see what they've done for other satisfied customers. Give your home or business that brand spanking new look, courtesy of Hendricks Power Washing and Striping. Licensed and insured. Call 256-763-1740. Hendricks Power Washing and Striping. Welcome to the Best of Tailgate Talk. This week we'll feature a little Father's Day flavor with a conversation we had back during football season with former Auburn and TCU quarterback Patrick Sullivan about his dad, among other things. We'll switch gears and talk baseball with former New York Mets and Kansas City catcher Ed Hearn. After that, we'll revisit a talk we had with sportscaster and producer Alan Massengale and continue with the announcer theme and hear from Crimson Tide Network announcer Tom Roberts. Before that, let's pass along a few announcements as part of Scores and More, brought to you by P4 Physical Therapy, delivering world-class outpatient care with a purpose. Visit them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com. Athens Performance Volleyball is having free tryouts for 4th through 6th graders tomorrow and next Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. Sign-up form is available on their Facebook page. Adult Tennis League registration is going on through June 24th at the Athens Rec Center. Cost is $30 for singles, $50 for doubles. Youth Flag Football registration starts tomorrow and goes through July 20th for ages 5 to 12. Cost is $50. For more information on either one of those, call 233-8740. Don't forget to enter your nominations for the Athlete of the Week polls that will start back up in August. And keep updated during the week on our Facebook page. Just do a search for Applebee's Tailgate Talk. Go to tailgatetalk.net and you can catch up on some of our other special guests as well as get a heads up on who's coming up in the future. P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook, too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon.
Hey guys, this is Joanna for CEI Bookstore and Truth Publications. Many of you are searching for Bible study materials for your Bible classes. Our best-selling Bible curriculum, Discovering God's Way, is a reliable tool for teaching students of all ages through the Bible in its entirety. We're sure you'll love this curriculum, and if you'd like to see other options of Bible classes, we'll be happy to help you select from our topical studies. So stop struggling with the search and come by and let us help you select reliable and meaningful study materials for your class today. CEI Bookstore and Truth Publications, taking his hand, helping each other home.
Welcome back to the Best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We've got a special guest on today, Patrick Sullivan, and if you recognize the name, he is the namesake of one of Auburn's favorite sons, Coach Pat. I call him Coach Pat Sullivan. He was a coach, Heisman Trophy winner at Auburn. And Patrick, I was raised on stories about your dad throwing to Terry Beasley, Sullivan to Beasley. My dad told me those stories years and years, and I just want to welcome you to the show and thank you for joining us.
Man, it's a pleasure. I've had a chance to meet several of y'all here recently in the past couple of months, and when I was asked to come on the show, I couldn't be more excited about it. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for accepting my friend request, by the way.
And full disclosure, full disclosure, the reason me, Bama, Zach, Tim, and Jayden reached out to you is because we're Alabama fans, bro.
And they suck.
I'll tell you, they don't have nothing to do with it.
You know what? Tim told me there's one Auburn guy in the bus.
That was Tom. You were just speaking with
right now.
But hey, brother, we know all about your dad.
Oh,
and hey, man, we're all Alabama guys, but hey, your dad was a legend at Auburn, and what a great guy. And,
I told you when I met you at that 1 yard at a time gala that I may be an Alabama fan, but I was also a Pat Sullivan fan.
Oh man, and man, I tell you, he was
special.
Now we didn't like him when he played Alabama. But other than that,
well, I appreciate you saying that. That is a pretty consistent theme that people that come up to me that have had a chance to cross paths with him throughout his life, from early childhood days to high school to college to professionally. They just he had a way to just endear himself to you, and he was a great man, and I miss him every single day.
I'm sure you do.
I can imagine so.
And you know, a testament to his life is, you know how the internet is, right? You can find something on somebody, but you're not going to find anything about your daddy on there that's negative. Everything's positive. So you know, I imagine growing up as a coach's son was fun, but I'm moving around and having to change. Like, this is one question I've never asked anybody. So you go from UAB to Sanford to where TCU. What do you do with all the old clothes from the old school? You donate them?
Do you know what?
They end up on eBay.
That you asked that, because you donate a lot of them, but when you go through his closet, you look back at all of the T-shirts and practice gear and golf shirts and coaching equipment and shoes. It's something.
I'm sure.
and you can say, hey, this was sponsored by Russell Athletic. This one was Adidas. This one was Nike.
But the one thing that stays the same is that Heisman Trophy.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, where is this trophy? Do y'all have it?
You know, there are 3 Heismans, and not everybody knows this, but there are 3 Heismans made every single year.
Oh.
One of them goes to the Downtown Athletic Club.
Yeah.
One of them goes to the college program, and one of them goes to the recipient.
Awesome.
And so, Dad's actually the trophy is at my mom and dad's house, kind of in a basement trophy room.
Oh yeah,
cool.
So to speak.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, growing up, it was something that it really just kind of sit on a shelf behind. I mean, for a while, I sat behind next to the microwave in the kitchen. You know, like when they were remodeling, it was just something. Like Dad was always Dad. There was anything. You know, he was the one that would encourage me. He was the one that would discipline me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I knew him as Dad.
That's great.
But you didn't bring all your buddies over though. It's like, hey, let me show you something.
Warming up a hot pocket.
Yeah, warming up a pocket. Hey, just say, my dad just he won the Heisman Trophy, you know.
But you know what? When you're that young, you just don't even really you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't one of those kids that understood what it meant.
Yeah.
And this is something that he had accomplished when he was 18, 19, 20 years old, and then he was, as I was getting older, he was the 35s, 40s.
Yeah.
50s.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure at some point I may have said that immaturely, but no, I don't ever remember any of those memories of saying, hey, I kind of want to show this off. Even then, as we were joking about being kind of in the minority, I remember growing up in the mid '80s when Dad had moved down there to coach. Like I was in a minority then. Auburn hadn't had successful years. Alabama was still still and continues to be a top-notch program, and like everybody had those like silk, red, maroon, crimson jackets, and I did have my Auburn jacket, but I was one of very few.
Well, I don't think I'm mistaken with this, but if I'm not wrong, your dad was the offensive coordinator the first time Alabama ever came to Jordan-Hare in '89. Is that correct?
He was, yes. He certainly was.
He was.
So he started coaching. He started coaching at Auburn in 1986.
That's what I was thinking. He stayed offensive coordinator for a while.
So it was his dad's fault we got beat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thanks, Patrick.
That first, it was probably Coach's fault because that first touchdown play when James Joseph, we call him Bo Peeps, he went over the line. We had 12 men on the field, and nobody called him. It was an extra blocker.
Yeah, you take it when you get it.
Oh man!
But he goes.
Yeah, that's right.
We took Coach Legg and one of my son's coaches, and my son and several others went down to a football camp down at UAB when he was offensive coordinator with Watts and Brown, and we got to see him and got to meet him that day, and that was a red letter day for me. I've never forgotten it. And he ends up going to Sanford as head coach, and he actually coaches my first cousin, Charlie Sanford, out of Coleman, and Charlie.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. Charlie has nothing but great words for Coach Sullivan. Absolutely loved him.
I appreciate you saying that. Sanford could not have been a better fit, a better place for Dad to kind of just work through some of his illnesses and just kind of challenges of his cancer treatment. It really wasn't the cancer; he didn't have it at that time. But just the quality of the people, of the administration, it was an instant home. Dr. Westmoreland was fantastic. I know he was a fond friend of Dad and kind of a mentor of Dad's, and they just had a great relationship. And the players, he couldn't have been more proud of the time that he spent there and the program that they had built.
We'll be back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
At Hendricks Power Washing and Striping, your property is their priority. Power washing, striping, seal coating, crack filling, and asphalt maintenance, rain or shine, day or night. Call Colby for a free quote at 256-763-1740. Visit their Facebook page and see what they've done for other satisfied customers. Give your home or business that brand spanking new look, courtesy of Hendricks Power Washing and Striping. Licensed and insured, call 256-763-1740. Hendricks Power Washing and Striping.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State hometown team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
Accidents happen. It's a part of life. So next time a wreck is a part of your life, Sides Auto Body Repair is there to lend a hand. Since 1987, Sides Auto Body Repair has been guiding customers through the repair process with as little stress as possible, offering free estimates, a limited lifetime warranty on their work, as well as saving you the headache of handling the insurance paperwork. They're also ICAR Platinum certified and can boast over 60 years of combined experience. Call their Highway 72 West location at 230-6464 or Highway 72 East at 444-0729. Either way, call them first. Sides Auto Body Repair. If you're running out of space and a yard sale just isn't an option, Midpoint Storage and Buddy Box Storage gives you the choice. Midpoint Storage on Highway 72 East has traditional or climate-controlled units along with spaces for your boat or RV. Buddy Box offers convenient, secured, portable storage units delivered right to your home. They're both locally owned, too. Call 256-800-4249. Look for them on Facebook or online at midpoint.storage.com or buddyboxstorage.com. It's a win-win situation. Midpoint Storage and Buddy Box Storage. 256-800-4249. We continue with our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
You've been on. I'm sure you've been on the field. You've been around all the programs. What's your favorite story of your dad, either coaching or what you've heard of as a player?
Oh, gosh. You know, the one that comes to mind is more of a story that he tells. That when he was being recruited by Sturgeon and Bear Bryant, he tells a story where he is riding in the truck to the Auburn, Alabama game, and he's in Coach Jordan's, just beat up old pickup truck, and it breaks down on the side of the road.
Oh my goodness!
And Coach Bryant's motorcade, and all the police officers and seriously, 15 cars just passed them, and Coach Jordan's kind of quipped that, hey, you can either ride with him, or you can ride with him, or you can walk with me, and. I think they just had that blue collar work ethic, and I think from that moment on, Dad knew where he wanted to go to school.
We've had Terry.
They had a good.
Oh, go ahead.
Good rapport.
We've had Terry Henley on the show. It's been a couple of years, but he talked about the great man that we knew as Coach Shug Jordan.
Oh yes, yeah. He was a special man, and was a disciplinarian. He definitely, you knew where you stood with him. I did not have an opportunity to meet Coach Jordan, but have heard several stories. And if you were talking with Terry Henley, I'm sure you had a bunch of stories as well. He's a great storyteller.
Yeah, he's a good storyteller now.
Yeah.
He got talking about that purple stuff he got to drinking when he came to Auburn. He loved the purple stuff.
That's right. And Terry was just had been a great friend of Dad's for a long time, and ever since his playing days, and he had continued on throughout his life. So think the world of him.
Anybody else, Bama fans?
So, you know what? You get to talk about your dad all the time. Let's talk about you.
Yeah.
What's going on in your world?
Gosh, so I grew up in Birmingham. I have been married to Claudia, my wife, for 23 years. We got married a couple of months out of college. We have 4 kids. My oldest daughter's a junior at Auburn.
Oh, cool.
The nursing program. And then I have a senior in high school son named Joseph. They played Hoover last night. Great game. It was 24-21. Hoover's a great team. Vestavia ended up losing, but fun, competitive game to watch. Just nice to be back in the stands and watching them. And then I went to Mountain Brook High School here in Birmingham.
Okay.
And he had a little bit of success here. Fortunately, I ended up tearing my knee up, had my ACL reconstructed. I tore it my sophomore year, and then played on it torn through my high school career, and then had the surgery. I guess the senior before I went to Auburn, and then sat out my first year, my redshirt freshman year, just rehabbing my knee. And I was recruited under Coach Dye, and I guess my dad was coaching at the time there too, and I'd known all those coaches. I was one of those kids that had grown up in junior high and high school, just being the ball boy and selling programs and selling Cokes in the stadiums. I was always around the football field, and fortunately I had the opportunity to go play at Auburn, and I wasn't on the field a lot as a quarterback. I was special teams, held extra points and field goals. I was the backup quarterback. They ended up, Patrick Nix, who he was underneath Stan White, and ended up having a successful career there. And Damian Craig was recruited, and we had some successful years. I guess we were 11-0 and 10-1-1, and I ultimately ended up, when you just want to compete, you want to play, and just the philosophy was changing, and at the time, Terry Bowden was the coach, and he was brought in, and he recruited Damian Craig, and everybody remembers Damian as just a phenomenal athlete. And I wasn't Damian.
Well, especially not on a torn ACL,
No, I wasn't Damian, so I ended up transferring, went out to TCU, really just to prove to myself that I could play again and fall in love with the game, and I did. During the year that I would have sat out. I lost about 2 years of academic credits going to changing from Auburn to TCU.
That's brutal.
So I decided not to come back to my 5th year and go back to Auburn and finish out my degree. But I would have started at TCU my 5th year if I would have stayed, and I just fell in love with the game again. I met some incredible people. We're in the scout team with LaDainian Tomlinson. Most people know him.
Yeah, I've heard of him once or twice.
Hall of Famer. Yeah, kind of heard that guy.
Yeah. So most people remember him, and just have some incredible friends that I made out there, and then came back, finished my degree, and just from a business standpoint, people ask me why didn't I get into coaching? You had alluded to it earlier. Just there's a lot of insecurity. You talk about the coaching carousel, and every 2 to 3 years. You're looking at probably a new job, and so I decided not to go that route and wanted to be a little bit more secure. And I got into medical device sales and was a surgical sales rep for about 20 years, and then now I'm in the management side of it and selling. We did pacemakers and defibrillators and the electrophysiology, the electrical parts of the heart, and so I've been doing that.
That's cool.
Was in Mississippi for about 10 years, and then came back. About 3 years ago to be with mom and dad as he was toward the latter part of his life, and just love being back in town in Birmingham and reconnecting with some old friends. Lewis Battle's one that's a former Auburn player, and Willie Gaucher is another one that I've recently connected with. And
Willie's been on I think Willie's been on the program before.
Okay, good.
So Patrick, when you were at TCU, you was Coach Fran there?
He was not.
Okay.
Honestly, Dad was there. So Fran
was
his dad. That's
right after Dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Fran was right after Dad.
Yeah. Well, Patrick, before we leave, hang up with you, I just want everybody to know, we know about your dad, but just tell everybody in your words just what kind of man your dad was.
Well, first of all, I can't say anything about my dad without mentioning my mom.
Well, yeah, of course. There's always a woman behind every great man. There's a woman. Yeah, so.
And I say that because when you talk about you can't get on the internet and search anybody. You can't search anything because he loved my mom.
Yeah.
And there wasn't probably, I mean, he'd step on the practice field, you know, right before practice, he would give her a call, right? But when he'd finish with practice, he'd give her a call, right? Hey, I'm getting in the shower. After you get out of the shower, hey, do you need anything? Like on the way home, he's like, hey, I'm stopping at the store. Do you need anything? Like he was always in communication with my mom.
That's awesome.
And he just absolutely adored her. And so everything that you could attribute to his success was because of like just her love for him and her sacrificing to allow him to do what he loved to do. And so that's I can't say anything about my dad without mentioning my mom. But truly, my dad was a great man. He was a player's coach. He loved people. He loved to tell stories. He just had, I think I told you earlier, he just had a way to kind of endear himself to you. And when he walked in the room, you knew it. And he was very humble. And I'm very grateful to have him as a father and a role model.
Now,
so
quick question.
That's what I would say.
Awesome. But this, you said your son plays for Vestavia. Do they play Central of Phoenix this year?
They do not. But
okay.
Where, Patrick Nix.
You know where I'm going with that, don't you? Yes, sir.
I do. Yeah. No, I followed Patrick Nix, and I saw him over when he was over in Pinson, and now Stan Shade is over in Pinson. Yeah. And both of them at one time or another have coached with Dad, and so I just think the world of Patrick and Sam, and I was glad to see him get the win over there.
Yeah, we actually started following him when he was at Scottsboro before he went to Pinson, so. He was up here in North Alabama for a little while.
He sure was before they ended up going to Pinson. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yep.
Well, buddy, Patrick, once again, thanks for accepting my friend request. Don't be a stranger. I hope to try to get to that thing with Tim where Tim met you next. Letterman.
That sounds great.
Buddy, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Patrick.
Thanks for talking to us about your dad.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Take care, buddy.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a quick break. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk.
This is Bella LaFontaine with Crown Service Termite and Pest Control. We take care of all the basics. We take care of cockroaches, ants, wasps. As far as rodents go, most places they'll trap or poison, and that's the end of it. What we do is we're actually going to find the entry points, and we're going to take care of that for you. We do a lot of work with a lot of realtors here in town to bring houses to the closing table. So one of the big things about us is that we're not a sales company. We are a service provider. So we're not looking to meet a sales quota. We're looking to get a house ready to go to closing and get our customers taken care of. This is Bella LaFontaine, Crown Service Termite and Pest Control. We are located at 3413 6th Avenue in Huntsville, Alabama. Phone number is 256-701-7095.
Quality Vinyl is on your side. Quality Vinyl in Athens has been in business since 1987, offering great prices and service the whole time. What has changed is the technology of their products. From vinyl siding and shutters, sunrooms and screen rooms, to doors, windows, columns, and rails. Quality Vinyl, located on the corner of Highway 72 and Reed Road in Athens, just 6 miles west of I-65. Call 232-2665 or visit them online at qualityvinyl.net. Quality Vinyl is on your side.
Hey guys, this is Joanna Clem for CEI Bookstore and Truth Publications. I'd like to personally invite you to visit CEI Bookstore. While you're here, you'll find a wide selection of Bibles, gift items, trustworthy study materials, and more for you and your church. Our friendly staff will be happy to help you with your selections while you shop in the store. We even offer personalized Bible imprinting and gift wrapping. Not in the Athens area? Enjoy shopping with us online at truthbooks.com. CEI Bookstore and Truth Publications, taking his hand, helping each other home.
Real estate, real easy. That's the motto at Innovative Realty Solutions, and providing the highest quality real estate services is their mission. With sound real estate advice, the latest information, and a skilled analysis of the real estate market, Innovative Realty Solutions offers a better home buying and selling experience with a fair, ethical, and, yes, innovative process. Innovative Realty Solutions. Visit them on Facebook, online at innovativerealtysolutions.com, at 100 North Clinton Street in Athens, or call 230-5950. Innovative Realty Solutions. Real estate, real easy. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We've got formerly of the New York Mets catcher, Ed Hearn. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, it's good to be with you boys down south.
I'm telling you what, dude.
Way down south.
A long way from the Big Apple. But
you may not be able to understand us. All these country accents.
No. You fellas, I'm from the deep south down there in southeast Florida.
Oh,
That's
okay,
right.
yeah.
I looked at your profile. I think you're originally from Palm City, not Palm City, Stewart, right next to it.
I was born in Stewart and grew up in Fort Pierce, Vero Beach.
And I know that area very well. I've been going down there for 20 years with my job. So I don't know if you've heard of
nice, yeah.
Armalini Express Lines is one of my test fleet there in Palm City, just right across the river.
I got you.
Yes, sir. But hey, man, you was a ball player, brother. I'm talking only guy to ever win a championship in single A, double A, triple A, and the majors
That's
in consecutive seasons.
That's crazy.
Ed, how in the world did you do? Me and Todd played Dixie Youth against each other, so we go back and forth about that. But we
but honestly, at some point, I would have, you were like the good luck charm of the whole organization. I mean,
I'm surprised Steinbrenner didn't try to pick you up, man. You done won 3 in a row.
Somebody wrote an article there on a blog or something several years after I was gone from New York, and they said the curse of Ed Hearn. Now, you heard the curse of the Big Bambino, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you were their curse.
He figured it out. He figured it out that once the Mets traded me away after 4 straight wins in a row, they hadn't won a World Series since.
Well, I'm a Braves fan, so that's good. That's good. That's fine
That's
with
a
me.
good thing.
Good.
So
I hear you.
So share with us some of your Met stories that because especially then, being in the 80s and playing with some of the guys you had on that team, I'm sure you've got 1 or 2 that maybe you can air.
Maybe you can talk with on radio. This is not a podcast, so we have to keep the radio thing going.
I hear you on that, man. There was a book written by Perlman called The Bad Guys Won. And when people ask me about that book, they say, is all that stuff true? And I said, yeah, all of it's true, but it's only about 60, 70% of what really went on.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Couldn't put everything in there.
No, they couldn't. But, it was an unbelievable year. I was 26 years old, rookie in the big leagues, first time backing up the Hall of Famer Gary Carter.
Yep.
Yes.
And in New York City, I think Frank Sinatra said it best. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
And, the Mets had building the minor league system for many years because they were always on the bottom of getting first-round picks and stuff. And so early 80s, and, that was an organization that just had talent loaded from youngsters in low A ball all the way up in eventually to the big leagues there in the mid-80s. And I happened to come along in my rookie year, and that was when it all the cream came to the top.
Yeah. Well, and obviously you had, going from single A to the majors in what's really back then, especially a relatively short amount of time, obviously you had some really good seasons in the minor leagues for you to get pulled up. Do you think that organizations still have that kind of patience with some of their players as far as, building them up, giving them the opportunity to learn the game at that level? Or do you think it's more, just throw a lot of money and hope it works, and rush them up?
Well, the game has certainly changed a lot, guys.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that, and I think the minor league systems have been impacted tremendously, even before they began the cutbacks that started this year. I don't think that guys were they didn't give them the opportunity to develop often, and they were bringing them up so fast that many of these guys weren't ready to be long-term big league ball players yet.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're not prepared to play the game once you're up there, it's almost like sink or swim type situation, and especially playing in a town like New York. I mean, where the media scrutiny is already at probably the highest level of any of the major league teams. Between y'all and the Yankees, so that had to be interesting.
The Yankees have always have done it with money, and they've always had talent. The Mets have had to rely on the minor league system more so. That's just the way they decide to go. And a lot of times guys were getting there here in the last 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years, and they weren't ready to play at that level. And, the Mets fans get upset because, 5 years later after they left New York, these guys became superstars, some of them.
Yeah.
And that was hard to understand for the Mets fans.
Now, growing up in Fort Pierce, They play ball down there year round. I mean, you can play ball
No.
Not
when I was a kid. I hear that all the time.
That was my question. I mean, we talk about travel ball now, kids playing ball year round. Now, was that the same way with you down in when you were growing up?
That is a great question. I hear that all the time. Oh, you grew up in Florida. Y'all played ball all year round.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't the case. We played maybe 21 to 24 baseball high school games, and then some conference tournament, and that's it. So
really,
maybe 25 games, and then in Fort Pierce, we had American Legion ball.
Yeah,
and I played that when I was 14. I was just way, that's kind of over my head a little bit, but then it turned into Big Little League, and it was not highly competitive thing.
Okay.
But see, I played football, baseball, and basketball and golf all in high school. And when I was younger than that, I played even more sports than that. Yeah. I am not a proponent of kids playing one sport year round constantly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. You
got to be well rounded.
If you can play multiple sports, and it's happening. I help out with a local high school football team, Ed, and you're seeing these kids. Oh, I'm going to quit playing football, coach. I'm going to concentrate on basketball, or I'm going to concentrate on baseball. When they can easily, they're a good football player, but they think they can get a scholarship in this other sport. And you hear these other athletes tell them. I've heard. I remember before Kobe passed away, and he would tell kids, play multiple sports. You can do it.
Yes.
Why not? But kids, they want to concentrate on one sport, and I just don't get it.
I'm totally backing you up, man. I learned a lot of different skills for different sports, and I learned to play for different coaches by being involved in different sports, and all of that adds up toward you being a better all-around athlete. And I laugh at that question. When people tell me that, oh, you played ball year round, you played 100 games a year, I'm like, no, I didn't.
No, you don't play that.
Now you can play golf down there year round if you want. If you can stand that August heat, it's 80 degrees.
But you know what though, that was a way I think probably for people to justify your talent. And you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, that's the only reason, you can hit so good or feel so good is because you're doing it 12 months out of the year when, in fact, like you said, you weren't and shouldn't have been.
But before we're gonna ask you some personal questions, but before I want to ask you one more professional question. How was it getting that World Series ring, putting it on your finger? How did that feel?
Well, I got traded 5 days left in spring training the following year to the Royals. And so I was not there at Shea Stadium the next year to get my ring with the team. But when we came in the Royals to play the Yankees, one of the executives came over and presented me the ring there at the hotel. And when he left, I left with my future wife, and we went out into the streets of New York. And, I wrote about this in my book, that it was just an amazing thing. You dream of being a big leaguer, you dream of World Series, but, man, the reality of that happening is just zero, really. And here I was, had a ring on my hand, walking out into New York City, and then I went, uh-oh. Man, I got to protect this thing. I'm in New York City.
Exactly. Yeah. You better put that thing in your pocket, man. Don't let nobody see that.
Darn straight about that, man. So
you might miss a finger.
It was a beautiful experience getting that ring. The ticker tape parade was an awesome thing. Even the ride that day before the day we went to the ticker tape parade after winning it all there against Boston, I'm a Florida boy, so New York was a totally new deal to me. It just wall-to-wall traffic, just a totally different place. But we got on those. We had about 4 buses at Shea Stadium, and we took off toward Lower Manhattan where the parade was starting. And one of my biggest memories is every one of the roads and interstate ramps and all were all closed off. car on the road, and all these people outside their cars, and they're chanting, "Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets!" Workers up on 15 stories up on these big buildings, and they're all chanting and almost like the Braves chop, but let's go Mets!
That's awesome.
Let's go Mets! That town was just lit up because we hadn't won since '69. So those Mets fans were just starvers. It was just a fabulous experience, and I'm just very thankful and blessed to have been a part of that.
I can relate. I can relate to that. Auburn. I'm the only Auburn football fan here. Everybody else is wearing Alabama Roll Tide stuff. See, so in 2010, I got to be the guy that says War Eagle national champs finally since 1957. So yes,
I hear you, man. Well, you guys turned out one heck of a ball player back in my day, right there in Georgia. In Herschel Walker.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I love that guy. He played for my Cowboys for a while, and just what a great human being that guy is. He's just a great guy. He is what a great guy he is.
And that's one of the reasons I brought him up. I've been very impressed at watching him mature into the man he is today, and the values and the character that he espouses and represents. I think are just fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a tremendous athlete. But he's an even better person, I believe. And the only other guy I compare him with, and a guy I got to play with, was Bo Jackson.
Did you get to play with Bo in Kansas City?
I
will be dog. I did not put those two together. Man, I would have let off with that question if I'd have put those. We were asking the other day if you were last week if you were part of the Pine Tar Bat game.
Oh, that's right.
But
that would have been
before.
I think that was a year or two before I got there.
Yeah. Well, Bo knows a thing or two about multiple sports.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, gentlemen, I've seen a lot of great athletes in my day, but I guarantee you nothing like Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Well, listen,
Bo's a good man. He's one of these Southern boys. You talking about good stories.
Oh yeah.
I got to be pretty good friends. We go fishing together here in Kansas City, and a couple days. I remember one. He lived in a pretty wealthy area, South Kansas City, and his house cornered up into a intersection that was just four-way stop. And I go over there, me and Bo be shooting bow and arrow.
Wow,
that's
awesome!
Right at that intersection with just an iron gate. So you see these old wealthy people driving by. Here's this big white guy, a big black guy.
That's awesome.
Them cars. Look at that dude.
Now, could you outshoot him, or he's pretty good with that bow?
You didn't want to beat Bo.
Oh, really?
I was one to let him win because you didn't want to get the wrath of Bo.
I was gonna say he had that competitive nature about him a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what? I tell you, we got him one time in the clubhouse. There was a ping pong table there. And Buddy Black, the pitcher, who became manager there in big leagues here recently, and Bo could play some ping pong too, man. I mean, he beat everybody. So Buddy Black knew a guy that was a high-level amateur or professional, and he brought him in and told Bo, "Oh, hey, this newspaper reporter can beat you, man."
Oh, no.
So I was like, "Well, put your money where your mouth is."
That's great.
And so he went in there, and this guy started playing, and he goofed around with him for few points, and Bo said, "You ready?" And the guy said, "Well, I guess, man." And after about 3 or 4 points, the guy turned it on, and Bo's like, "What the hell?" He started stuttering and everything. What the hell, y'all?
My
gosh! Bring her here.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Let the Wookiee win.
Let the Wookiee win. Yeah, I was thinking about don't mess around with Jim when Big Jim goes down and hustle slim.
Back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right. Smith's Heating and Cooling in Elkmont is your friendly local contractor servicing most brands of equipment and proudly installing industry-leading Rheem systems. Whether it's an air conditioner, gas furnace, heat pump, or indoor air quality system, Smith's Heating and Cooling prides themselves on their exceptional installation and 24/7 customer service after the fact. They offer financing too. Call 777-5450 today to schedule an appointment or a free no-obligation consultation. Smith's Heating and Cooling. Call 777-5450. Visit them on Facebook or online at smithsheatingandcoolingllc.com.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
We continue with our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
You know, you're talking about how special Bo and Herschel were, but and you're a very special guy in your own right, man. You mentioned your book earlier, Conquering Life's Curves, and you know, if you don't mind, share with us some of your health, issues that you've experienced the last, 15 plus years, and you've gone through a whole lot, man, and just from what little I read, you mean a lot to a lot of people.
And your foundation, too. We've heard about your foundation, too.
Man, y'all don't have enough time for this part now.
we built in a little bit of extra time.
Well, and I want to say this before you get started, just real quick, because this stuck out to me. I just want to say it. So you had a quote. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's the most important part of my life.
Yeah.
So, I like talking about it. It was a tough time. It's been 30 years.
Wow.
It's still going on. But, I got traded to the Royals. I was supposed to be starting catcher. I brought here to catch that pitching staff that won the 85 World Series. A bunch of young guns like Saberhagen, Dubas.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And I blew out my shoulder.
Yeah.
Major reconstructive surgery, and that'll come back, and it wasn't meant to be. A year and a half later, I was diagnosed with end-stage renal failure and a whole bunch of other things to just keep it short for you guys. But today I've had three kidney transplants.
Wow.
I take an IV treatment once a month, about $8,000 shot for immune system deficiency. I have central nerve sleep apnea, and I've had 45 to 50 skin cancer surgeries. And what else have I had? I just can't keep up with it. But, I went from the penthouse to the outhouse because, a year and a half after that first transplant, the immunosuppressive medications had a lot of side effects, and one of which that got me was depression and mood swings. And I went down to my basement, in the office basement, and I loaded the 357 pistol. I was ready to quit on life. But, you know, 3 things that kept me from doing that. The foundation of faith that was already laid in my life, the beautiful woman that I had met in New York, and it was my wife, and now it's been with me, she's my wife and nurse of 32 years. Without her, I would not be alive today. And I also I remember hearing a speaker named Zig Ziglar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he said, it came to my mind right there. He said, you can change where you're at in life by what you put into your mind. And I made a game plan that day when I put that pistol down. And 6 months later, I was asked to share my story to a local Rotary Club. That was just 6 days later. I didn't want to be in front of anybody. And the guy twisted my arm. The former Chiefs player, a friend of mine, was in charge of getting speakers for that club. And I went there reluctantly, but at the end of it, man came up to me afterwards. He said, "That was a great story, Ed. Man, for an old jock, you really speak well." And, you know, corporations pay people like you to go out there and share that kind of inspiration, motivation, encouragement. And he said, I have a speaker here, and I would love to tell you about what I do. And I just book speakers out to organizations, and I think you'd be a great person for me to work with. And he handed me his card, and I said, "Well, thank you, sir, but, you know, the timing's not right." I didn't tell him I was in my basement 6 days earlier with a loaded 357.
Wow.
But 6 months later, I called him up. I said, "Mr. Brad, you know, at the time you chatted with me, I certainly wasn't ready for what you had in mind, but, you know, I'm thinking it might be a light at the end of the tunnel. There's not another train coming, and I'd like to have lunch with you." And that was 1994. And today I wrote a book back in 95 called Conquering Life's Curves, Baseball, Battles and Beyond. I've been speaking all over the country for the last 25 years. Everything from schools and churches are maybe 10 to 15% of the work I do. A large majority of it's associations and some corporate work at the local, state, national, regional. It's been incredible. And, you know, God had a plan for my life, gentlemen. And baseball was just a small part of that journey to get me to the point where I believe he wanted me, where I could make an impact on people's lives. And it was not through my strength of being an athlete, a professional ball player, but it was through the challenges and the weakness that I endured that allowed me to touch lives. Because we all face challenges, especially today.
Yes.
I mean, COVID-19 is a perfect example. Yeah. But, you know, I can go out there and talk about perspective and thinking outside, not a box, stupid-ass box saying. Now, think outside the self. That's the key. That's the key to life, man.
Yeah.
Thinking outside yourself, thinking about people around you, the people you're leading, the people you're talking to on this show. You put them first, and this show will never end.
Yeah. And that's what God intended us to do, was to be here for that very reason, to be selfless and help others, and you're obviously doing it. You had a quote that says, "Trials build character," and I've had one heck of a trial, and you certainly have, but you have...
I'd be one heck of a character.
Yeah. The character that you built, obviously, yeah, through that, but you've shared that story, you know, I'm sure hundreds of times at this point, and there's no telling how many. And it's not just those that you're speaking in front of at the time. They go and they tell their friends and family, you know, "Hey man, I just saw this incredible speaker." And matter of fact, I told my wife this morning, this is the truth, that you know, I've had some health issues, and after reading your story, I told her, so I don't have anything to complain about. I mean, Ed here has gone through a whole lot more. So see, you inspired me just by telling you know what you've been through. So you touch probably a lot more people than you would ever imagine. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate that, but it is so true. You know, about 10 years ago, I became aware of a saying by somebody, I don't know who did it, and I've looked it up because if I'm going to quote somebody in my speaking, which I don't do that much of, I'm going to let people know where that came from. I'm not a guy who's going to say what Bo Jackson said, and that's my words. But I came across this saying, and this has been my mantra for about the last 15 years that I'm speaking. And I just keep this in mind. This saying, listen to this. Anyone can count the seeds in one apple, but no one can count the apples in just one seed.
That's the truth, brother. I never thought about that.
That's great.
You never know.
That's true.
Yeah.
You never know. I got a letter from a guy the other day, and he was telling me he's written like 30 books, and he was telling me about his son, Archie. I can't tell you where he's from, but this guy's son became a preacher. And the guy told me, he said, of all my kids, that's the last one I thought would be a preacher. But this fellow went on to tell me that, he said, I promised to write a book about Archie's journey, because Archie's son, he had a son that was born disabled and never could walk, but he learned to drive. He was in college, and Archie got a phone call that his son had been killed in a car accident. So this Archie's dad, the guy who wrote me, said, I want to do a book about your life, son. And he said, listen, it's going to be, I want you to do it in the format of what this guy Ed Hearn did. And I'm going to send you a copy of his book. And then he moved and he couldn't find my book. So he went back and bought one off the internet, and he sent me a page and a half letter telling me this story, and that he's written 30 books. And now he's going to start writing it in the format that I wrote my book.
Awesome.
With
Awesome.
The inside pitch at the end of each chapter that talked about a certain fundamental characteristic or value that I wanted to talk a little bit more about, and then I go back into the story. And, that's one of those seeds that if that guy had written that letter, I wouldn't have any idea that the style of my book made it that.
Yeah.
What a beautiful thing.
That is awesome.
Well, yeah, that's awesome, buddy.
Buddy, thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to stay and talk another hour, but we've run out of time, Ed.
Well, man, I think that saying working good being the Applebee's tailgate show, right?
That's right. There we go.
You got some stuff that we might have to use in the future, brother.
I like that apple seed. You can count the seeds in one apple, but you can't count the apples in one seed.
There you go, brother.
Well, take care of yourself.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, man, and keep up the good work. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Well, I say the same thing to you guys on tailgate there.
We'll do it, brother.
Keep planting seeds.
We'll do it. We'll do it,
guys
brother.
like me, and we'll never know the difference we can make. You guys keep swinging, man.
We'll do
Thanks,
it,
Ed.
brother. Thanks, Ed. Take care, brother.
Take care, fellas.
All righty. Bye-bye. We always
That's
say
awesome.
we have some awesome interviews.
Yeah,
we have
that
some of the
was
best
great.
interviews
you
ever.
never
Good job,
know.
producer extraordinaire Tim Lambert.
Tim pulled another one out.
It's time to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk.
Accidents happen. It's a part of life. So next time a wreck is a part of your life, Sides Auto Body Repair is there to lend a hand. Since 1987, Sides Auto Body Repair has been guiding customers through the repair process with as little stress as possible, offering free estimates, a limited lifetime warranty on their work, as well as saving you the headache of handling the insurance paperwork. They're also ICAR Platinum certified and can boast over 60 years of combined experience. Call their Highway 72 West location at 230-6464 or Highway 72 East at 444-0729. Either way, call them first. Sides Auto Body Repair.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State hometown team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
At Hendricks Power Washing and Striping, your property is their priority. Power washing, striping, seal coating, crack filling, and asphalt maintenance, rain or shine, day or night. Call Colby for a free quote at 256-763-1740. Visit their Facebook page and see what they've done for other satisfied customers. Give your home or business that brand spanking new look, courtesy of Hendricks Power Washing and Striping. Licensed and insured, call 256-763-1740. Hendricks Power Washing and Striping. Welcome back to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
we have our special guest, Alan Massengale. Alan, welcome to the show, buddy.
It's my honor to be on the show in the great state of Alabama.
And with us being from Alabama, and Tom, our host here, main host, he's a big Auburn fan. Me and Clint and Tim are Alabama fans. And what school was that you went to down the road from us?
I went to the great institution of higher learning.
Oh, wow.
The University of Georgia. A class of 1980, the last time we managed to win a national championship, mainly because of the folks over there in Tuscaloosa who keep whipping our butt. And Georgia fans, Alabama fans have a lot in common. I'm not going to speak for Auburn fans. I might upset some of the audience, but Alabama and Georgia fans have a lot in common because we are class institutions, and we love our football. And I'm watching SEC Nation here. I've relocated from Los Angeles after 30 years to back to God's country. So I'm down here in Tampa, Florida, and being treated at the world-renowned Moffitt Cancer Center. I was diagnosed with cancer about 5 years ago. People hadn't seen me on the air that much doing what I usually do, and I kind of semi-retired because I take care of this. They gave me 6 months to live, and I fought it, and I'm still here. And I highly recommend people, if you have, always, I want to get this out there. I have a program called Scope-A-Dope. As you know, Tim, I do a lot of boxing around the world for Top Rank and the International Olympic Committee. And so I knew Muhammad Ali pretty well, and so I named my commitment to getting colonoscopy called Scope-A-Dope after Rope-A-Dope, because
that's great.
If you don't get scoped, you're a dope. It's the only preventable cancer. I wanted to get that out there. Don't do this to your family. Don't do it to your friends. This be in 2020. You can follow me on Facebook, Alan Massengale, and I'll lead you to all the other stuff. And let's do some good in 2021 and forget about this lousy 2020 year.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, man, kudos to you for doing all this and making awareness for all those others,
you got to take something negative and make it positive. Yeah. I'm a Southern boy, as you guys probably know. I was born in Cleveland, Tennessee. It's the hometown of Steve Sloan. You Alabama people might have heard Steve Sloan.
Yeah, we know of Steve.
My father's in the. Is this the Auburn guy?
No, that's Todd. Todd's the Bama guy. The Auburn guy's keeping quiet over
here. He's keeping quiet.
Just a little bit.
We can gang up on Auburn. My father's in the Sports Hall of Fame there in Bradley County, Tennessee, and I grew up in Atlanta and as a Georgia Tech fan, if you believe it or not, with Tim King back in the 60s, and then I followed Doug Dickey when he was the coach at Tennessee, and never really thought I was going to Georgia, but I had some small college offers to play ball and baseball and football. But I went to Georgia because I realized that there's no place on earth I can get a better education at the greatest school that there is. So that's pretty much what happened.
Nice endorsement there, without a doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
You're supposed to laugh.
Well,
we were stunned.
Shocked.
We were stunned.
Shocked, man's a word.
We didn't out of respect. So
yeah, you are our guest. So
I know what it was. You were in shock if somebody would say such a thing. You didn't know how to respond.
Now, Alan, I work with a guy who is he is a Georgia Tech grad, and he works in Akron. I work down here, and but he's I don't know which is worse. He fusses at me because Auburn hadn't beaten you guys in like forever. He says, when are you finally going to beat Georgia? But
you can ask him the same.
I did. That's what I do. He said, well, Georgia Tech's not supposed to beat Georgia.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story about being a Southerner. When I got to ESPN, and I've had such a great life. I mean, a kid from South Atlanta on the wrong side of the tracks who's seen the world like I have, and been able to do what I have done in broadcasting with Fox and with the ABC and ESPN. Growing up in South Atlanta, when I got to ESPN, they never really, in the mid-'80s, they weren't what they are now, and they had never met a Southerner, and so they kind of just stared at me kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I said they didn't. I had to explain to them, like Greg Gumbel and Chris Berman and Tom Mees, God rest his soul, all my friends up there. I said, I got to explain to you. Well, Tom knew. Tom Mees had been at Florida State and worked in Tallahassee. And I said, I got to explain to you about football in the South. I said, you guys follow a lot of pro up here, but down south it's religion. And they got a kick out of it because and then they put me on the college beat, and I would go and do different, different previews for the SEC. And I did a great feature once on Georgia, Florida, that played all over the country. But as you boys know, it's a different world down here, and we're proud of it. And I was proud to represent the Southerners for the first. Everybody in ESPN at the time, and they're still kind of that way, was either from New England or North. So, and I'd never lived in snow in the winter, and so it was,
that's got to be an adjustment.
Well,
it was.
You have and still do represent the South very good. One question would be is, so after getting into broadcasting, and you can share a little bit with how and why you want to do that. But so obviously you don't sound like we do on the radio. Yeah. Did you have to? Or did they ask you to kind of lose the Southern draw? I'm sure you had one.
Well, the situation is in all jobs, especially if you're going to be a national broadcaster, different things. There's certain standards that are acceptable by the public. It's not so much me worrying about having the accent. Of course, I've lived in New York and I lived in California for 30 years, so I didn't hear a lot of the accent. But what happened was I was writing for the Atlanta Journal when I was 19. I was writing Atlanta Journal College. I was writing high school sports, and in the summers I would write for the. Cause that's really what I pride myself on is writing, and in the summers I was covering whatever the other writers didn't want to cover. Like in those days, the Braves. Nobody wanted to cover the Braves. But what happened was I was at the University of Georgia, and I'm in the journalism school. And a professor comes up, a legendary professor named Bill Martin, and he says, aren't you Alan Nightingale?
Nightingale?
Yeah. And I said, well, yes, it's Massengale. He said, no, I know your reputation. I call you Nightingale. But anyway, so he said, I want you to try out for my news show on the television. And I said, well, sir, I don't really want to do television because I don't speak English. And I was born to see in Eastern Tennessee, so I had an Appalachian, hillbilly, accent combined with Georgia, which was a real mess.
Oh, you were messed up.
In Georgia, every word has two syllables in it, whether or not it needs it.
That's good.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you add a syllable, like my name is Alan in Georgia. and of course in Eastern Tennessee, where my family's from, foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, they don't move their upper lip, and they look like they're smiling no matter what happens. They talk like this. They go, "How you doing, Dad?" He says, "My dog died, and my grandmother got run over by the truck, but I'm fine. How are you?" You're smiling, Billy Bob. Yeah, it's been a rough day. How are you? So I got a combination of that, and so believe it or not, that's a great question because I was sent away to Georgia Southwestern College in Americus, Georgia, to spend 3 months with a linguistics expert to help me with my accent. Now, I still have a Southern accent. It comes out. I think it's good in sportscasting. Keith Jackson, he was from Georgia. He was my mentor. And, all these great Southern baseball announcers, Ernie Harwell and all those guys. And so I had to go work with a linguistics expert. And what I found out was, basically, you would hear yourself talk, and then they'd play the recording back, and then you'd have to try to get rid of the horrible, bad accent where people can't understand you. And I found out that the Southern accent, basically, is Cockney English slowed down because the Cockneys, that's who settled. Nobody else would come here except the people out of jail that settled Georgia, and so they
that and the Scottish
and the Scottish, and I've got all that, the Scottish, but and so when they talk, they clip everything. You walking, talking, and then we're walking right, like that. And so if you slow it down, it comes out walking, talking, running, and so I actually did have to. But I got the job, and the professor came to me and says, "I got good news and bad news." I said, "Right, so you're going to anchor my new show with Deborah Norville." I've heard of her; she's a Georgia graduate.
Yeah,
and the beautiful lady and friend of mine, and so he said, "The bad news is you got the good news. You got the job. Bad news is you're right. You cannot speak English, so we're going to have to do something about this." And that's the history of that. But
well, maybe you could have gotten Deborah to come out with her Georgia accent, and both of you could.
She doesn't. Well, she's a faker like me. She's from Dalton.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh, I didn't realize she's from Dalton.
She's from Dalton, carpet capital of the world.
Carpet capital of the world.
You guys, yes, sir. So that's a little bit of my boring story, but that was a good question.
We'll be back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this. Accidents happen. It's a part of life. So next time a wreck is a part of your life, Sides Auto Body Repair is there to lend a hand. Since 1987, Sides Auto Body Repair has been guiding customers through the repair process with as little stress as possible, offering free estimates, a limited lifetime warranty on their work, as well as saving you the headache of handling the insurance paperwork. They're also ICAR Platinum certified and can boast over 60 years of combined experience. Call their Highway 72 West location at 230-6464 or Highway 72 East at 444-0729. Either way, call them first. Sides Auto Body Repair.
Hey guys, this is Joanna for CEI Bookstore and Truth Publications. Many of you are searching for Bible study materials for your Bible classes. Our best-selling Bible curriculum, Discovering God's Way, is a reliable tool for teaching students of all ages through the Bible in its entirety. We're sure you'll love this curriculum, and if you'd like to see other options of Bible classes, we'll be happy to help you select from our topical studies. So stop struggling with the search and come by and let us help you select reliable and meaningful study materials for your class today. CEI Bookstore and Truth Publications, taking his hand, helping each other home.
If you're running out of space and a yard sale just isn't an option, Midpoint Storage and Buddy Box Storage gives you the choice. Midpoint Storage on Highway 72 East has traditional or climate-controlled units along with spaces for your boat or RV. Buddy Box offers convenient, secured, portable storage units delivered right to your home. They're both locally owned, too. Call 256-800-4249. Look for them on Facebook or online at midpoint.storage.com or buddyboxstorage.com. It's a win-win situation. Midpoint Storage and Buddy Box Storage. 256-800-4249. We're back now with more of our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk.
Here's a question I got for you, Alan. It's 1988, man, one of the greatest times of my life when I was a kid. All right, Todd. When I was a kid in 88, I mean, my favorite, I lived my life by Miami Vice, and I read your bio where in 1988 you were in Miami doing the Don Shula show, man. Tell us about those times in Miami.
I got to tell you something. Coach Shula and I had such a wonderful relationship. God rest his soul. What happened was I got tired of freezing my butt in New England, and so I got an offer. I got an offer from ABC in Miami, and ESPN at the time didn't match the offer because they weren't paying anything, and they didn't want to commit that much money, which wasn't a lot, but it was more than I was making, about double. So I get down to Miami, and of course in Miami you got to understand, in those days the Dolphins, that was just the first year of the Heat. That was it. Coach Shula ran the media in that town, and people were terrified of Coach Shula with that jaw, Yeah. And so I decided, being cocky and young, that I would not spend any time talking with him about his show. His show in 1988 had a 63 share of the audience, which is the highest rated show ever. It came on between 8 and 9 o'clock before Monday Night Football, and we were ABC station. So if you were anybody, you watched the Don Shula show on Monday night. He made a fortune off that show. He's a great businessman. So what happened was I kept avoiding him because, I wanted to kind of be on the same terms with him in terms of the show, although he was a star. And so we get to the show's about to start, and he looks up, and the teleprompters are not turned on. And he'd been working with the same guy for 15 years, Chuck Dowdle, who went to Atlanta. I don't know if you guys know WSB in Atlanta, but Chuck Dowdle, Georgia graduate, was in Miami for years, and I replaced him. So he Coach Shula looks up and says, Alan, are you going to turn on the prompters? And I looked at him. I said, Coach, don't worry about it. You do the coaching and you do the commentating, and I'll do the broadcasting, and we'll be fine. And he grabbed my knee and said, I like that. So I never wrote anything. And so from then on, it broke the ice. And so we never turned on the prompters because, let's face it, they just played the Jets yesterday. I got Dan Marino sitting there. I got Jim Jensen sitting there. I got Coach Shula sitting there. What do I need a teleprompter for? The score was 27-24, and we're going to talk about the game. So he always got a kick out of that. And he was one time they were having a really bad season, and I said, Coach, it's going pretty bad before the show. He said, yeah. I said, do you think they'll let you keep your freeway? The Shula.
Yeah.
He didn't like that, but it was just a different world. If you have a little time, I'll tell you another Don Shula story in Miami. I got a call in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah.
And I did the Shula show and also did the Miami with Jimmy Johnson when he was there. Nice. And I got a call from Shula, and he says, Alan, you need to get on the first plane you can get and get to Dallas. I said, Coach, what are you sending me to Dallas for? He said, trust me, get to Dallas. So I started putting two and two together. I got the first plane out, and I got to Dallas before the massacre hit when they fired Landry. And I was able to take a picture of the Jerry Jones plane with the Dallas logo star on it at the airport, the private airport. So I broke the national story about nobody could believe it that Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones were going to buy the Cowboys. So I was on ESPN all that day doing what they wouldn't pay me enough to do years before, which was breaking the story. But that was because of Shula. Shula was wired in that he controlled the narrative, he controlled the media, and if you crossed him in that town, but he didn't mind you being fair. I mean, I was fair, but if you crossed him, you weren't going to get many interviews with the Dolphins or Shula. Period. In those days, he was a Bear Bryant. He was Bear Bryant of Miami. That's what he was. And great time. But I was out, believe it or not, guys, I was out at dinner in Long Beach, California, where I'd moved from, at a seafood restaurant. There's a couple of good old boys sitting at a table over from me, and the guy kept looking at me. I said, I wonder what he wants. I walked to the restroom, and he said, aren't you the guy who did the Don Shula show? I said, that's 30 years ago. Wow. So people still remembered the show, and it was a great time to be in Miami. Absolutely, it was just a lot of fun, and I left there because I had to, because President of ABC took me to L.A., so that was what happened. But it's an amazing time.
Yeah. Alan, this is Tom. I was actually fortunate enough to meet Coach Shula about a year or two before his death. He opened those Shula Burger franchises. And I was staying in Fort Lauderdale in a brand new Shula Burger, and they were really good burgers. They were expensive, but they were good burgers. And I walked in there, and they were doing a TV interview, and they're set, Coach Don Shula.
Oh man!
And I got to meet him and talk to him a little bit.
And
I was just he made his money actually. Not he had he was the highest paid coach at the time, which was probably $250,000 a year in 1968 or whatever with the Dolphins. But he made his money in burger franchises. He owned a bunch of Burger Kings out west.
Oh, really?
And that's how he got into the restaurant business with his son David, and I can't forget with the Shula Steakhouses, which I just saw a Shula Steakhouse over in Orlando the other day, and I thought a lot about him, and he was just. The certain people you meet in sports, like Coach Bryant, or you meet, I can name any hundreds of them. But they're like Jack Nicklaus. They're a step above. They're you're almost godlike in their demeanor.
So speaking to that, you've like you said earlier in the interview, you've been all over the world and covered so many sports. And has there ever been a situation where you were getting ready to interview somebody where you were? I won't use the word intimidated necessarily, but like we're fans of sports, right? I mean, if Michael Jordan walked up to me right now, I'd probably be tongue-tied.
Yeah.
Did you ever run into any of that kind of stuff?
No, I was. My father was a pro ball player in the minor leagues back when the minor leagues baseball was great. So I grew up around a lot because of him. He was friends with Henry Aaron, and I would play baseball against Henry's kids and knew them very well. And so I grew up not really idolizing or looking at they put the pants on one at a time like everybody else.
Yeah,
right.
But the one time I did interview Coach Bryant, and I don't know how much time you have. It's a funny story, but I was a little bit intimidated by him, but not much. But I was still in Panama City. I worked in Panama City for 3 years. And then I've had situations where, and I'm working on a short story book that you guys have inspired me to get back to work on it, about the short stories about people I met and things that happened. Like, I've been cursed out seconds before I go on the air, and then all of a sudden they're the nicest guy in the people. Then after the interview's over, they cuss you out again. The only time, now I used to run around with Michael Jordan in Chicago when he was a rookie, and we struck up a friendship, and so I would be amazed that, you know, wherever he went, the bigger he got, you couldn't. I literally, when he's staying at the Ritz-Carlton, and I lived in Marina Del Rey for the Laker games, and the Bulls would come, I'd have to come into the kitchen to get to the bar area to meet Michael, because the front of the hotel was 50 people, 100 people deep, just wanting to see him.
Wow.
And I never really understood that. But the funny line was, I make it to the kitchen one time, and Michael looks at me and says, "Alan, would you go get me a cigar?" I said, "That's just great." I said, "I go from being your buddy to now I'm your gopher getting your cigars." Great. But he literally couldn't walk to the cigar lounge from where he was because too many people.
Yeah.
The one time, I'll tell you this funny story, the one time I was ever speechless was I was in Connecticut, flying out of airport near Bradley International there, and I walked around a corner and I bumped right into Joe DiMaggio. And I looked up, I said, "Holy crap, it's Joe DiMaggio," and my mouth flew open. I was embarrassed because I run into him, and he patted me on the head and said, and he says, "I understand."
Nice.
And to this day, I bumbled out something, but you know, you just don't expect to run into Joe DiMaggio every day. That was the only one I think I was tongue-tied with.
I can imagine. You talked about your scope. Your Scope-a-dope, yeah.
Scope-a-dope,
yes, sir. And you said you spent times with Muhammad Ali. I mean, did you cover some of the big fights that he had?
No, he was a little bit before my time. I started covering boxing in 1985. My first fight I covered for ESPN, and you got to understand, ESPN has all these elaborate sets and all this money now. I was standing on top of a satellite uplink truck. No OSHA rules, by the way. I was standing on there. I fell off it on Atlantic City covering the Great White Hope's Cooney versus Spink.
Nice.
And that was my first fight. And Ali, when his 50th birthday party, one of the greatest moments of my life, I still have it somewhere, I get a Western Union telegram. And it says, "Meet me at Chasen's for my 50th private birthday party, Muhammad Ali."
Cool.
And, so I got, it was just friends and family. And that night, I'd been going through I had some kind of problems or physical problems or something. And Ali came across the ring, all the way across the room. I'm standing there over by the punch bowl or whatever the hell I'm doing, because I didn't have any drinks there. And so, of course. And so he comes over and he asked me, you all right? And I said, well, I got excellent. He said, let's talk about it. I said, here's the most popular man on the planet who's taking time out to come ask me how I'm doing. And that symbolism blew me away. And then he said, look, when this is over, I'll take you back. I'm going back to the hotel. I'll take you back to your studio, and we can talk. And I got to ride in the back of the car with him and Bandini Brown. And to this day, I'm just blown away by the fact that he sat there and listened to me over some nonsense, really nonsense. And he was that kind of person.
That is awesome.
It was an awesome time. Oh, by the way, back to the fight in Atlantic City, if you have time.
Yes.
This is a short story I was writing about. I've written about, and I'm up there and I hear this voice below the satellite truck, and I look down and there's a guy pulling a rickshaw, and he goes, "Hey, Alan." I'm looking around. I look down. "Hey, Alan." I look down. I said, "Mike." He said, "Hey, it's Mike Tyson." I said, "I know who you are."
And he's pulling a rickshaw.
Oh my God!
Yeah, pulling a rickshaw. I said, "Mike," and I'm like 2 minutes to the air. I got the fight's over. Everything's going to break. All the people are coming out of the Atlantic City auditorium, and he's going. I said, "Mike, where?" And I had met him before. I did an interview with him before, but when he was in the Catskills, so he knew who I was. I said, "Mike, what are you doing with that rickshaw?" He goes, "Oh, I just borrowed it. I borrowed it from a guy down near the Trump place." And I said, "You borrowed it?" I said, "Yeah, I wanted to take you for a ride in my rickshaw." I said, "This person's not your rickshaw, Mike." Number two, whoever you borrowed it from, all these people are getting out, probably needs it right now to make a living. He goes, "No, I want to take you for a ride in my rickshaw." And I said, "Mike, I don't do rickshaws. I'm going on the air." But he said, "But I'm going to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world." I said, "We know this, but I've got to go on the air right now." And it was hilarious. And so he sauntered. I don't know where he went. He took the rickshaw back.
Well, that's good. That was
got a ride.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, Mike.
Dude, all that compilation of those kind of stories would be incredible to read. I mean,
I know we don't have enough time to get the rest of them. We're at our time, Alan, but we got to get you back home because I know there's a lot more coming.
Yeah, and before we let you go, share with us.
I will.
Sorry, go ahead.
You call me anytime, and I'll be glad to spend a few minutes with you guys. It means a lot to me, and like last week when I screwed up and missed the interview, I have a policy. Furman Fisher, you guys know who he was, used to be the editor of Atlanta Journal-Sports. You never turn down an interview, and you always talk to people in your business because you're never too big to spend time. And I'm not big at all, but spend time to give people of your time. So I'll be available, guys.
We appreciate it, and we're going to be praying for you. And
yes, sir.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Fair work.
Absolutely. Just keep doing what you're doing.
There's no other reason I'm still here, I believe, except for prayer, and there's another plan for me, and maybe I got to get that book done because my wife, she is driving me crazy. I've written one book, but it's a different type of book. But I said, "Who wants to read about my life?" And she says, "You don't understand. Whenever you go out and people ask you stories, they're just fascinated." She said, "Put out a short story book that they can read on airplanes, and I've got like 1,000 stories."
And that'd be gold, man. It really would.
I'll let you know. You'll get the first copy if I ever get it out.
I love it, and I'll read it on the airplane. Trust me.
There we go.
All right. Thanks a lot, Alan.
All right, guys.
We've got to go, buddy. We appreciate your time.
Hey, it's been a pleasure, and I know that Alabama's going to win it all. It's not even close. They might as well just roll the trophy into Tuscaloosa and nail it down because it's never leave.
Roll Tide.
I hope you're not setting us up, you Georgia guy.
Oh, man.
That's what I knew that.
That's great. Thanks so much, Alan.
Take care, brother.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's Alan Massengale with everything.
That was awesome.
Everything. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Quality Vinyl is on your side. Quality Vinyl in Athens has been in business since 1987, offering great prices and service the whole time. What has changed is the technology of their products. From vinyl siding and shutters, sunrooms and screen rooms, to doors, windows, columns, and rails. Quality Vinyl, located on the corner of Highway 72 and Reed Road in Athens, just 6 miles west of I-65. Call 232-2665 or visit them online at qualityvinyl.net. Quality Vinyl is on your side.
This is Bella LaFontaine with Crown Service Termite and Pest Control. We take care of all the basics. We take care of cockroaches, ants, wasps. As far as rodents go, most places they'll trap or poison, and that's the end of it. What we do is we're actually going to find the entry points, and we're going to take care of that for you. We do a lot of work with a lot of realtors here in town to bring houses to the closing table. So one of the big things about us is that we're not a sales company. We are a service provider. So we're not looking to meet a sales quota. We're looking to get a house ready to go to closing and get our customers taken care of. This is Bella LaFontaine, Crown Service Termite and Pest Control. We are located at 3413 6th Avenue in Huntsville, Alabama. Phone number is 256-701-7095.
Real estate real easy. That's the motto at Innovative Realty Solutions, and providing the highest quality real estate services is their mission. With sound real estate advice, the latest information, and a skilled analysis of the real estate market, Innovative Realty Solutions offers a better home buying and selling experience with a fair, ethical, and, yes, innovative process. Innovative Realty Solutions. Visit them on Facebook, online at innovativerealtysolutions.com, at 100 North Clinton Street in Athens, or call 230-5950. Innovative Realty Solutions. Real estate real easy. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We've got the legendary broadcaster from the Crimson Tide Sports Network on with us, Tom Roberts. Tom, I'm going to go ahead and put this caveat out there. I'm the only Auburn fan on the group. So, if I ask
who's going to be talking? So who's going to be talking to me?
It'll be Todd and Tim.
It'll be all three of us.
Because I know you got some good Auburn stories as well.
But me and Tim don't want to hear those.
No, they don't want to hear those.
But
I love you anyway.
Well, I told you before we got on, and I'll tell you listeners, if they hear strange sounds in the background, we've got our daughter and 4 grandchildren here.
Oh, wow.
They live down near Selma, and the hurricane took out their power. So It may be noisy, but that's okay. Sounds like y'all are having a party.
We're set up outside of Applebee's. The sun is shining, but the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
So
you hear a lot of probably traffic.
Isn't it?
Yes, it's a bit.
Yes, sir,
a bit. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
If not for the COVID, we'd be inside the restaurant, and so you might hear strange sounds from in there too.
That's true.
Well, Tom, this is Todd. I just want to tell you first of all, thank you for all the memories. I mean, it's huge Alabama fans. It's me, Tim Hearn, and a lot of the listeners. You have provided so many memories over the years, and from your standpoint, I mean, I can't even imagine, some of the things you've heard and seen and experienced. Do you have something that particularly stands out? I'm sure it's not just one thing, but a few things that just might stand out above the others.
Well, there were 36 years of memories, and it wasn't I that had the memories. It was all those guys who were watching out on the field and the coaches. And there were so many great ones, guys. I mean, you look back, the very first game I ever did was in 1979 at Grant Field in Atlanta, and playing Georgia Tech, and E.J. Jr. I don't know why I remember this, but he intercepted a pass and ran it back for a touchdown in the first game I was ever associated with the network. And then down through the years, my goodness, I mean, the goal line stand against Penn State, and so many great games. New Orleans was one of my favorite places because I love to eat. Yes. There were also some incredible games down there, including the goal line stand. But I think my absolute favorite was beating Miami for the national championship in the '92 season, but on New Year's Day in '93. That was incredible. Just an amazing football game.
Yeah, and I was at that game, Tom, and in '89, I believe it was, when we played Miami in the Sugar Bowl. Their fans weren't, we'll just say they weren't the kindest folks. And even before the game, the championship game, they weren't very kind as well. So being able to get that revenge that night, it was incredible. I remember I had just gotten married the October previous, and I wanted to spend New Year's Eve with my wife, and she was like, "No, you need to go to the game, and I was like, all right. So I went with my buddies, and I remember running to a payphone. For folks that don't know, we didn't always have cell phones.
No,
that's right.
Yeah, and running to a payphone, just a random one there in a restaurant, and calling her and saying, we won, like she didn't already know she was watching, but I just just the excitement of the whole thing, and for you to be part of that, I'm sure had to be even tenfold to what I experienced.
Well, and I think the other thing, 2 or 3 other things that made all those years so much fun. First of all, the guys I was working with. John Forney and Doug Layton and Jerry Duncan, and then we had, of course, the Paul Kennedy for a year or two in there, and then Eli Gold for so long, and the Snake. I guess in all my time of watching Alabama football, starting back in the 50s, Snake was my absolute favorite player, and then as I got to know him in the years he was with us on the network, one of my favorite people of all time too. Just a character to say the least, but a great guy.
We have his daughter Alexa on the show. We've had her on a time or two, and she's a sports agent now.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's wonderful as well. But so I mean, you've worked with wonderful people. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me tell one quick thing about Alexa and her sister Marissa. During all the years that everybody knew Snake, they thought of him as a wild party animal, and he was. But in the years that it was with us on the network, most of the time on road games, he'd bring Alexa and Marissa with him, and the night before the game, they'd be holed up in Snake's hotel room watching a movie, probably cartoons, because they were still very young. So he was very much a great father to those two young ladies who turned out to be very successful young women.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was just going to say earlier, you have worked with so many wonderful people through the years, and they share and say the same thing likewise about you as well. Y'all make such wonderful team through all the different groups that you've worked with. You're able to just, like, your voice is so distinctive. I mean, like, as soon as I would know your voice not knowing who you were on the other end of the phone. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So,
well, I appreciate that.
Go ahead, Tom.
And let me mention one other person that very seldom gets any attention at all, but a guy named Tom Stipe is the producer and has been the producer for, close to 40 years now of the network broadcast. And Tom and I, he's my best friend. We've traveled many a mile together on the road doing football and basketball. So he's kind of the glue that holds the whole broadcast together.
So being an Auburn fan, here's Tom McClung. Tom, I grew up with Jim Fife, okay, and he was my touchdown Auburn man. That guy.
He was your funny.
He still is. I mean, I love it. We've had Andy Burcham on the air. We never got Rod on the air, but I got my photograph taken with him and my son up in Vanderbilt at a basketball game. But Jim Fife was my man. Did you ever get to meet Jim? And some stories to reflect.
It's strange, and I guess fans can't understand it, but the Alabama broadcast crew and the Auburn broadcast crews have always been very, very close. And so, knew Jim very, very well, a great guy. And my days go back to Buddy Rutledge doing the Auburn games.
Oh, wow, okay.
I had the pleasure of working with Gary Sanders at Channel 13 in Birmingham for many, many years. So there have always been, I guess, just a unique bond between the two broadcast crews because, we wanted to beat Auburn, they wanted to beat us.
Right.
But we were still friends, absolute friends. And Rod was one of the great ones, and now Andy has inherited it and doing a great job too.
We were able to get Andy on during the COVID thing when we were all in our own locations going through Facebook Messenger, and they're okay. Enough about Auburn. This is your part. So
listen, Auburn is
that's part of it.
That
is part of it.
Yes, part of it. I mean,
it is.
One other thing about Auburn. One of my fondest memories is the year when we finally beat them for the first time at Jordan-Hare, and it's still one of the greatest games ever. I can hear Eli saying it's touchdown Sean Alexander, let's go to the Georgia Dome. It was a great win, and obviously a part of a great year.
Yes, I remember the first time at Jordan-Hare. I wasn't there, of course, but I remember it, and it just to have a rivalry like this. I think after Alabama won the national championship, Auburn wins the national championship, and then it's like 3 years in a row the national championship had come through this state. And one of the guys, maybe it was David Housel, I don't remember, they said, if we could just look at this and put down our weapons just for a little while, to see what an awesome accomplishment has been made through this state in the college football, then it would be a great thing.
Well, you're exactly right, and David's exactly right. It's funny. I grew up in Fayette, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
David grew up in Gordo, and we played each other every single year. And so David and I have been friends for, nearly 60 years now. And anytime we got together, and that usually was only at the Iron Bowl game, we didn't talk about Alabama and Auburn. We talked about who won the Gordo Fayette.
Gordo Fayette. Love it.
That's great.
That's right.
Well, Todd and I still talk about East Limestone Tanner, so we get it.
Well, that's it. Those are the kind of memories and friendships that last forever.
No, absolutely. And how neat is that to be able to share your high school days professionally, 30, 40, 50 years down the road with Tom. This Tom just jumped his head like, oh, my gosh, because we're all getting so old, right? We're getting older.
Yes, we are. And thankfully.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thankfully. It's
better than the alternative.
Yeah.
That's right.
Back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this. Smith's Heating and Cooling in Elkmont is your friendly local contractor servicing most brands of equipment and proudly installing industry-leading Rheem systems. Whether it's an air conditioner, gas furnace, heat pump, or indoor air quality system, Smith's Heating and Cooling prides themselves on their exceptional installation and 24/7 customer service after the fact. They offer financing too. Call 777-5450 today to schedule an appointment or a free no-obligation consultation. Smith's Heating and Cooling. Call 777-5450. Visit them on Facebook or online at smithsheatingandcoolingllc.com.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon. If you're running out of space and a yard sale just isn't an option, Midpoint Storage and Buddy Box Storage gives you the choice. Midpoint Storage on Highway 72 East has traditional or climate-controlled units along with spaces for your boat or RV. Buddy Box offers convenient, secured, portable storage units delivered right to your home. They're both locally owned, too. Call 256-800-4249. Look for them on Facebook or online at midpoint.storage.com or buddyboxstorage.com. It's a win-win situation. Midpoint Storage and Buddy Box Storage. 256-800-4249. We continue with our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC. We carry high school games here locally. How did you get started in broadcasting?
Well, when I was in high school, my English teacher was named Margaret Black, my favorite teacher of all time. She taught me how to write, and then she recommended me to her husband, Jack Black, who ran the radio station in Fayette, and also was the owner and publisher of a little weekly newspaper. So I started, because Margaret recommended me to Jack, I started as a proofreader for the weekly newspaper, and then Jack one day said, would you like to be on the radio? And I said, well, let's give it a shot. And the year after I graduated from high school, I went back to Fayette every Friday night or wherever they were playing and did the play-by-play for the Thundering Tigers of Fayette County High School. I did that for a couple of years while I was at Alabama, and that definitely got me started. So anything I've done, I say I owe to Margaret and Jack Black, because they were just wonderful, wonderful people.
Well, that is great.
And I think I heard last week or 2 weeks ago, Fayette County has won the most championships in history of Alabama. Is that?
Well, I don't think that's right,
Okay.
but they have won their share of championships. This is not one of those years, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we had a guy named Walden Tucker that was the coach at Fayette for a long, long time. He's back there now. And his sons, Lance and Luke, were great quarterbacks at Fayette and then went on to, of course, play at Alabama.
Now, Tom, were you around? I was growing up during the 10-year 72 to 82 drought from Auburn and Alabama. But my dad remembers it was, I'm not sure the year, but they were playing in a slop. It was still fresh, still actual grass in Legion Field. And my dad we were talking about Snake earlier, and Auburn had led that entire game, and Snake run that last touchdown run to win. Now, were you involved with athletics? It may have been before your time, but were you involved with athletics then?
I was a student at Alabama at that time.
Okay.
I want to say it was 67, and went to the game and got soaking wet because it was a torrential rain. And then Snake, the run in the mud.
Yes, sir.
Run in the mud.
That Gusty Yearhouse still says that somebody held him. So
Gusty. I remember Gusty. Yes, sir.
But no, that was just typical of great athlete that Snake was, because the footing was absolutely atrocious that day. But he found some way to go around right in and ramble all the way to the end zone.
You know why? You know why he could do that? Ramble around the right end zone and keep his feet. He was a lefty.
Well, that's true.
Lefties are God's people. I would like to say I'm one, but I'm not. They are a different breed of human being. I don't care what you say. I love one. she's my buddy.
To me, one of the great memories is, Snake followed Joe Willie, and the two of them were all during the same time frame, and we now have two just as great in the same time frame, with Tua Tagovailoa last year and Mac Jones this year.
Yep.
I mean, it's so much fun. I love a great quarterback. My favorite player is a great running back. But my gosh, at the great quarterbacks we've had. And then, between Snake and Joe Willie and Tua and Mac, we've had so many others that didn't have the same success in the NFL, but they were so much fun to watch. So much fun.
Yeah. Can you imagine Coach Bryant back in the day having Snake and Joe Willie there at the same time, trying to keep, besides the on-field stuff, just the off-field stuff would be keep them able to be on the field, with all the mess they got in.
Yeah, you wanted to control the off the field so they could stay on the field. But they were guys that, I don't think there was a mean bone in either one of their bodies. They liked to have a good time, but they were also great quarterbacks and have been great supporters of the university since their playing days. I mean, Joe still comes back to games, and he's been a great supporter of the university his entire life.
Yeah. Years ago, I have a friend, Donnie Story, who's been a local coach here in Limestone County, and he graduated from Alabama, was a trainer. And from time to time, and he still has season tickets to this day, and I had him with him for several years. But we go to the A Club, and I remember the first time me having an opportunity to meet Joe Namath, and I don't usually get awestruck, but I was awestruck. I really was. I'm sure I mumbled over my name, and Lord knows what stupid thing came out of my mouth. But you're sitting there looking at somebody that you've idolized, for your whole life, pretty much at that point. What they could do on the field, and it's just, I don't know. It's so cool to be able to go and see the different former players and think about all the great memories that they've given us, and so that's Donnie hadn't been to that club in a long time.
We just got a text from Tom. We got a text from one of our co-hosts here. He's sick today, so he's missing it, but he really hates it. Yeah. But his name is Bama Zach. Okay,
yeah, Bama Zach.
Well, I'll let you know. Yeah, you'd love this guy. He's a great guy. He wants to know if you have any great basketball stories about. Let me read this correctly. If you have any broadcasting basketball stories from Wimp Sanders.
I was going to bring up the same thing. I love Coach Wimp.
Well, working with Wimp was great. I mean, obviously a great coach, but such a grouchy guy. I
still is.
I still talk to him. It still is. That's right. I talked to him today, and he still can be that grouchy guy. But there were at least 2 times during the broadcast that I was associated with where we lost, and Wimp was the worst loser in this world. I mean, absolutely hated losing. And he'd come out to do the post-game show probably 10 minutes late. But when he got there, he put his head down on the desk, and we'd have to literally hold the microphone under the desk.
God. Oh, that's hilarious.
Whatever he might mumble.
I can see that.
I'm glad I wouldn't have done anything like
that. He was a great coach and a great friend.
I always, because I love basketball, it's my favorite sport, Tom. And back when he was coaching, I always said that we should have done the outside of the court and the free throw lanes in plaid. You know,
I know.
And you know, you already had the plaid players with the band and all that, and of course the jackets. But back, I don't even know what year it was. It was early '90s, and we were playing Kentucky in the SEC finals in Birmingham. And I had a personalized tag, University of Alabama tag, and it had Wimp on it, and because of him. And Kentucky beat us at the Buzz. Right? It might have been that year Robert Ory played. I can't even remember. But anyway, that was the longest drive home.
Together.
Even though it takes me about an hour and a half. All the Kentucky fans were driving by me, honking at me and pointing at me. And I was doing 80, man. I was trying to get away from them, but I couldn't drive fast enough. but yeah, Coach Sanderson, those were some great memories. And basketball's coming back.
I go back to the days when Wimp was an assistant to Hayden Riley.
Wow.
In fact, when I was a student at Alabama, I was the sports editor of the Crimson White, and the basketball team invited me to go along on a road trip to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. They were playing 2 games in a little tournament down there, and that's when I got to know Wimp and got to know just how much he hated losing, because we lost both games in that tournament, and he was in just an awful mood the whole weekend. It was terrible, just terrible. But you know, the thing I think, though, in most of the coaches I've been around, they remember sometimes their losses much more than they remember their wins.
Yeah,
and because especially the ones that were so close. Coach Stallings was that way. Coach Saban's that way. He remembers a lot of the games that he lost because he would think back to, a mistake I might have made or something like that. So yeah, coaches they don't appreciate and enjoy the wins as much as they should, because a win is hard to come by, guys. I mean, it's very hard.
It is.
Absolutely. Well, now, so talking about Coach Sanderson, were you down there when CM Newton was coaching?
I was. In fact, I was a sports editor of the Crimson White when we hired CM, and he never let me forget that I had the headline on my column about the hiring was CM who?
Oh, no. Really? That was bold.
Nobody knew CM,
yeah.
But Coach Bryant, with Sam Bailey's help and with an assist from Coach Rupp, they all found CM, and my gosh, what a great coach he turned out to be.
Was.
And just a wonderful, wonderful human being. But he never let me forget that headline.
I went to basketball camp. He had a basketball camp here in Decatur when I was younger. And I went to it, and I attended Coach Sanderson's camps twice. But Coach Sanderson's was a lot funner than Coach Newton. Man, we did a lot of running. It seemed like when CM was there. But of course, he went on to Kentucky and be athletic director and had a wonderful career after Alabama. But
of course.
So, but you've had the luxury of.
But when
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When he retired, he moved back to Tuscaloosa.
Yep,
that's what
that's
I
home.
think it was always his thing.
Yeah.
Well, and since you're a basketball fan, I'm so excited about what could happen this year. Nate Oates.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was part of a group in Tuscaloosa that bid at a Boys and Girls Club auction for dinner at Greg Burns' house. Well, the night that we finally had that dinner was the night that that afternoon he hired Nate Oates and brought him to the party that night in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, wow.
And Nate, I think all of us were probably saying, Nate who? Because we didn't know him either. But my gosh, what an incredible hire. And the job he's doing, the recruiting, the style of play, I hope that the virus doesn't affect the basketball season, because I think we could have just a fun-filled year with this team that'll be wearing the crimson and white.
Yeah, and across the state, what Coach Pearl has done with the Tigers, we could have a rivalry be taken to a completely new level. On the basket.
That hasn't been there since Sonny and Will.
I hear you giggle.
But yeah,
well, the job he's done over there has been amazing too, and I think one of the most emotional moments I ever had was when Rod Bramlett was killed, and he and his wife were killed in that wreck. And I went over with Eli and Tom Stipe and so many others of us who are associated with Alabama, went to the funeral service. And I won't say I didn't like Coach Pearl, but I was not a huge fan. But that day, the wonderful eulogy he gave, the emotional eulogy he gave for Rod, convinced me that this is I knew he was a good coach, but a good guy as well. And yeah, what we're going to have this year and years to come with the basketball rivalry is just going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
Well, Tom, I'd love to sit here. We'd love to sit here and talk to you. One more thing, I've got to share this. Todd here, my co-worker, co-host, actually crashed SEC Media Days 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
He snuck in the back way, Tom, because he knew the way around the hotel, and got to talk to Coach Pearl inside Media Days without a press pass or nothing. So that's the kind of guys you got.
That's who you're sitting here talking to. People that'll sneak and whatever.
Is great.
But listen, man, thank you so much for joining us, and once again for the memories that you've given me personally, and I know all the Alabama fans throughout the state. I'm telling you, I know, or at least I hope you know that what you mean to the Alabama fans and the Alabama nation, and all that you've contributed, and we really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it too, guys, and
absolutely, roll tide.
Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. That was Tom Roberts from, the Alabama fans are high-fiving. I'll give you a knuckle. Give me a knuckle on that one, dude. That's a good interview. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC, the Big 1080.
Hey guys, this is Joanna for CEI Bookstore and Truth Publications. Many of you are searching for Bible study materials for your Bible classes. Our best-selling Bible curriculum, Discovering God's Way, is a reliable tool for teaching students of all ages through the Bible in its entirety. We're sure you'll love this curriculum, and if you'd like to see other options of Bible classes, we'll be happy to help you select from our topical studies. So stop struggling with the search and come by and let us help you select reliable and meaningful study materials for your class today. CEI Bookstore and Truth Publications, taking his hand, helping each other home.
P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State Hometown Team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
Accidents happen. It's a part of life. So next time a wreck is a part of your life, Sides Auto Body Repair is there to lend a hand. Since 1987, Sides Auto Body Repair has been guiding customers through the repair process with as little stress as possible, offering free estimates, a limited lifetime warranty on their work, as well as saving you the headache of handling the insurance paperwork. They're also ICAR Platinum certified and can boast over 60 years of combined experience. Call their Highway 72 West location at 230-6464 or Highway 72 East at 444-0729. Either way, call them first. Sides Auto Body Repair. If you're running out of space and a yard sale just isn't an option, Midpoint Storage and Buddy Box Storage gives you the choice. Midpoint Storage on Highway 72 East has traditional or climate-controlled units along with spaces for your boat or RV. Buddy Box offers convenient, secured, portable storage units delivered right to your home. They're both locally owned, too. Call 256-800-4249. Look for them on Facebook or online at midpoint.storage.com or buddyboxstorage.com. It's a win-win situation. Midpoint Storage and Buddy Box Storage. 256-800-4249. Quality Vinyl is on your side. Quality Vinyl in Athens has been in business since 1987, offering great prices and service the whole time. What has changed is the technology of their products. From vinyl siding and shutters, sunrooms and screen rooms, to doors, windows, columns, and rails. Quality Vinyl, located on the corner of Highway 72 and Reed Road in Athens, just 6 miles west of I-65. Call 232-2665 or visit them online at qualityvinyl.net. Quality Vinyl is on your side. You've been listening to the best of Tailgate Talk. You can hear the archive of this and other shows online at tailgatetalk.net. Join us next Saturday at 10 a.m. Applebee's Tailgate Talk is a production of Play Action Sports on 1080 WKAC.